The country is divided. Some say we're on the right track, others say we're way off. Some say the world isn't round, but things will change. There's hope on the horizon, because everything will be better when James Lantienge becomes president. And now, here's President Lantienge.
I always wanted to do that little side turn. Hey, welcome. My name is James Lantienge, and I am your president. This is episode number 2 of a 6-part series, and this episode is about government reform. Now, we just started recording this on the heels of the debate, and if anyone watched that debate, at first I thought, it's kind of fun, it's entertaining, but there are some legitimate things in here that I think our government should take note of. But after listening to the debate, I'm actually pretty confident that I might get some write-in ballots. So here's the thing, and this kind of reinforces everything that I'm about to tell you, because all we have to do is watch that debate. And then if anyone disagrees with any of this stuff, you didn't watch the debate close enough. So the first thing is, we need to have age limits on people who are running for office. I mean, I don't know about you, but 80 years old is way too old to be running for president. So we need to instill an age limit. We have an age limit as to when people can be elected as president. We need to have an age limit as to when they can no longer run for president. And that age limit is 70 years old. If you turn 70 before the election, you cannot run for president. Now, if you turn 70 after the election, totally cool. You can ride it out. You'll be 73 when you're done. There are a lot of smart, bright 70-year-olds out there that still have a lot to give to their nation. But we need people that are going to be viable candidates, people that we don't have to worry about dementia or any of those other kind of horrible diseases that people get, especially as they get older. We need to ensure that our government is being run by somebody with a sound mind and who is actually abreast to what's going on in our country and our people in this day and age. I'm getting up there in age, and let's face it, the older you get, the less in touch you get with where the pulse of our people are. And so we are going to install age limits into our election process. The other thing is that we need to level the playing field for candidates. People should not be outvoted because they don't have the money to spend on a political campaign like a billionaire might have. We need to level that playing field, giving everybody an opportunity to be able to campaign throughout the United States, just like a billionaire would. People who aren't billionaires should be given the same opportunities to be able to run their campaign and to be able to promote and run ads and things of that nature. So we need to level that playing field. We also need to instill term limits on all branches of government. We have it for a president. We have 0 term limits. In fact, if you're a judge, at least with Congress, the Senate, and where we can vote them out if we're done with them. Judges are in there for life unless they get impeached. Why is a judge allowed to be able to run until he's 90 years old and not be having to get re-nominated or elected or any of that other kind of stuff? I mean, the judges, if you think about it, have the ultimate power because they're put in and they just sit on that bench and they get to determine based on constitutional interpretations as to how laws should be overturned or if they should be enforced and why. I mean, it's the same issue that we have with our presidents when they're 80 years old and they're making decisions based on for our country and they're out of touch. I mean, let's face it, billionaires are out of touch. No matter what age you are, they don't know what the normal American person is going through and the heartaches and the hardships and everything like that. So term limits are going to go across. It's kind of like, it's kind of like going for jury duty. You go in, you do your civic duty, and you get out. So you go into Congress, you go into the Senate, you serve your time, you serve the people. You're not serving your party anymore. You're serving the people of the United States, and you do your time and you get out. We expect that of our president. We should expect that of everybody in government. There will no longer be an electoral college. It was kind of like political parties, and like I was talking about with oh gosh, see? I'm not even 60 and my brain's already going. Do you really want me to run this at age 80? I don't think so. But yeah, the unions, electoral college served its purpose, just like unions did. Now it's time to put those aside and accept who our vote is. One of the things with electoral college, when people go and run campaigns, they ignore all the small states because they don't care. It's like two people in the electoral college. So if we eliminate the electoral college, now it's based on popular vote. Every vote matters. Every vote counts. So, and then the other thing that I want to say about the government reform, and I know this is going to get me some hate mail, is we need to control our voting. I don't know of any other country in this world that would allow open voting like we do, where there's absolutely no proof that they're allowed to vote. We have too many flaws. It's like we have this very important tool. Voting is a privilege, and it's something that we should take seriously. And yet it's just very whimsical as to the way that people can vote. You go in and you say, I'm so-and-so. And there's absolutely no proof that you're so-and-so. And we have people that are deceased that are still on our voting logs. And, so people are voting for deceased people. We have immigrants that are here illegally that, people want to vote. What other country would let somebody like me come into their country, like Russia, and say, I'm going to vote for your president? Excuse me? No, you're not. So we need to protect the voting process, because that is an absolute honor for us to be able to do. If we have any civic duty that we should be responsible for, it's voting. That is the ultimate control that we as American people have over our government, and it should be protected, and you should be validated when you go to vote. And I know, we have these mail-in ballots, and there needs to be some way that we can govern that. But I do also know that ballot harvesting is an absolute no-no. If somebody wants to vote and have their voice heard, then you vote. It is so wrong for somebody in a party to go with a handful of ballots and just start knocking on doors and filling out ballots for people, because one, they don't care and they weren't going to vote anyways. And so now, instead of their voice being heard, it's a political party that's being heard. I mean, that is so wrong at so many levels, regardless of the party that does it. So voting should be done by the American people, and it should be done as an American, not as a party, not as a group, but as an American. I should be casting my vote and determining who I want to represent me in government. And once the people start getting heard, government's going to change. And with that, we're going to take some questions.
We got a lot of questions on this one.
Oh,
A lot of people have questions on this one.
I figured we would.
Well, the first one is from Kathy. She says, there are a lot of sharp senior citizens. Why would you exclude them?
There are a lot of sharp senior citizens, but there becomes an age where there's too much at risk. When we get up there in age, in a heartbeat, things can change because of illnesses. And I know they can for young people, but it's not as prevalent as it is in an elder. and they served their time. They've done their civic duty. Sit back and retire and stop trying to control the world. Let somebody who is younger and fresher and has insight as to what's the actual pulse of the nation is.
Okay. And Joseph is wondering, he likes the idea of everybody having the same amount of money to spend on a campaign, but who supplies that money?
I think we do campaign fundraisers just like we have been doing, but it's in order to aid all of the parties or all of the people that are running so that they can all stand on the same foot. Now, I'm not saying that it's necessarily equal, oh, it's not fair. He's got more money than I do and blah, blah, blah. But I just think that, people who want to run for president need the same opportunities that a billionaire is going to have. And I think the playing field needs to get leveled, because what's happening is we're voting for somebody because of the money they have, not because of their being the right person for the job.
The follow-up question to that is, with social media and everything else, how do you decide where money is spent and how it's spent?
Well, with social media, I mean, there's a lot of free advertising that's out there. But if you're going to buy campaign ads, whether it's on social media or through the news networks or through public TV or local stations, then that's where, the playing field needs to get leveled a little bit. People need equal access to those ads and to be able to run those commercials.
Okay. And then Tina has a comment more than anything else. She says she hates the Electoral College because she lives here in California and she feels the Electoral College makes her vote worth less than somebody who lives in Maine.
I agree 100%.
That was just her comment.
That's why it needs to go to the people.
And let's see, I got one more question here. And Cynthia asked a question. I don't know if you know the answer to this or not, but does the person who spends the most money always win? Is that the one that wins?
No, not necessarily, but I do believe that there are viable candidates out there that, would really do well for this country, but they don't have the access to these larger campaigns. And so they're ignored and they're pushed aside and they're never given the opportunity to show that, my gosh, this person would be a great president.
Okay. And that's
like me.
Like President James Lantienge.
That's right.
That was our final question.
Okay. So our next episode, because why not? Why stop there? We've angered some people with this one. Let's just keep the anger going with flat tax.
Brought to you by Abracadabra, Hocus Pocus, Presto. Pick a card, any card. Some words are magic. They sparkle with the promise of something wonderful. But they're still just words until you add that something wonderful to the mix. And that's what you'll find at the White Rabbit Magic Shop in Santa Paula. Their inventory includes world-class tricks and illusions that are not only for sale, but that they will teach you to master. In addition, White Rabbit Magic Shop is world-renowned for its amazing collection of bicycle playing cards, with nearly 500 decks in stock. So, if you're serious about magic, then say it with us. At the White Rabbit Magic Shop, we believe in magic. The White Rabbit Magic Shop, located at 15500 Telegraph Road, Suite B15 in Santa Paula. For more information, please call 805-850-3051 or check us out online at wr-magic.com. This has been a Rough Edge Studios production.